First off, I love the attention to detail that this painting has, particularly in relationship to General Lee. He is depicted with his arm in a sling, which was, as the certificate mentioned, due to the fact that he had actually sprained a wrist as well as broken a hand as a result of losing control of his horse Traveler right after the Battle of Second Manassas. He'd actually been briefly forced to ride in a wagon or ambulance for a few days before he eventually learned how to control his horse with one hand. And so the fact that he's still able to maintain such a martial presence, where he is the center of the painting despite necessarily not being the primary subject. Everyone's looking at him. It really captures the gravitas that he had whenever he approached the scene. Look at all the generals in the background. Look at Gordon. Look at all these troops. He commands such a presence as he did historically. And so it's very fitting that even despite his injury, he still holds a lot of awe for those around him. Another interesting detail is the two generals in the back. Daniel Harvey Hill is perhaps not the most famous Civil War general. He's definitely one of the hard-fighting division commanders of the Army of Northern Virginia before he was sort of cashiered and sent out to the Western Theater, where he was eventually further cashiered and sent back to North Carolina. But he had fought tremendously well at South Mountain, so the fact that he is sort of one of these more forgotten Civil War commanders, it's great to have him depicted in this particular piece. And I believe it's the only Troiani piece actually depicting Daniel Harvey Hill. Also, you have Robert Rhodes in the background. At this point, he's a brigade commander, and he's going to rise up to the ranks, become one of the most efficient division commanders in the Army of Northern Virginia, before he's later killed during the Shenandoah Valley campaign of 1864. So if you're a Civil War buff, you definitely know these two generals out here in the background, but the fact that they're not usually associated with the greater cultural depictions of Civil War, it's great to have them included here. Col John Gordon's presence in this painting is meant to show a degree of reassurance that he's going to hold this line until sunset. And looking back behind him, you see a lot of his troops are in various stages of preparation for the upcoming battle. You have some men praying, you have some men looking towards General Lee and the other generals as well as Gordon, trying to ascertain some confidence. You have some men preparing, they're knocking down the fence rails. You have some junior officers looking through eyesight, trying to depict the upcoming Union assault. So you really get a sense that this is the calm before the storm, that all hell is about to break loose really soon, and that there is a moment of tension. General Lee is looking at Colonel Gordon with a degree of confidence, trying to instill faith in him, while Gordon, who certainly looks up to General Lee and certainly wrote about how much he looked up to General Lee in his biography he wrote later in life, is definitely trying to impress the commander, try to instill some faith in him that, hey, I'm going to hold this crucial portion of the line.